A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to Views You May Use, your go-to show to get to know top personalities, business leaders and domain experts on different subjects of direct or indirect relevance to your life here in the UAE. I'm Anurag Malhotra. While I serve you your daily dose of news you can use from Sunday to Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., keeping you abreast of important, relevant and useful local news and information, every Thursday, I host a special guest, a top personality who share their views, knowledge and expertise on different subjects of relevance and interest to you exclusively on Talk 100.3, the home for news, sport, business and conversation in the UAE. UAE is truly a land of opportunity, which provides equal opportunity to expats from over 200 nationalities who call it their home. So if you have it in you, then UAE has it for you. As you know, a very large part of the UAE population here in UAE is the Indian diaspora, who have excelled and contributed to different sectors, including business, healthcare, education, technology, as well as media, besides many other fields. Last week, my guest was an NRI who came to the UAE 45 years back and excelled in his chosen field. But my special guest today is Priya Jethani, a beautiful and a charming young lady who's been a resident of Dubai from almost her birth. Priya is a Dubai girl who, through her sheer hard work, perseverance, determination, and dedication, has achieved a lot at a very young age in the media world here. She is a popular Indian television anchor, MC, actor, and model, and a familiar face at the events and social scenes in Dubai. Welcome to Views You May Use. It's a pleasure to have you on my show, Priya. How are you doing and how does it feel to be on the other side of the table, on the hot seat?
Thank you so much, Anurag. It's such a pleasure being here on your show. And you're right, it feels very, very different to be on the other side of an interview. Usually, I'm the one asking questions, making people feel nervous about what they're going to say, what is coming their way. But this time, you're making me feel that way.
I'm sure you're a past master by now. You're not feeling nervous. So let me start with my customary question. GTKYB. Okay, so you have a smile on your face. Well, all I was trying to say is help us to get to know you better.
All right.
So briefly tell us about your early years, Priya.
All right. So as you rightly said, Anurag, I have lived in Dubai pretty much all my life since my birth. I did my schooling here. I did my corporate job here. And while I was working in my corporate job, which went on for like 7 years, I decided to make a move in my career. Well, initially it was something where I was trying out something in media and thinking I'll do something on the side along with my corporate job, because that's what I had even done initially when I was studying my MBA. I was also working on the side. So I thought I could manage, two things at a time. But yeah, it then turned out to become like a full-time career in media, and it was a major shift from my corporate job to this.
Wow. So we are going to talk about that major shift which you had from a corporate job to the world of glitz, glamour, television and events, and so much more you have done here. I understand you had great personal challenges. Would you like to share these briefly and how you overcame these to carve your path in the media industry?
Well, I think, I had always respected everyone who was in front of the camera, even people who are on the radio. I would always hear them or look at them and wonder, what if they've had a bad day? What if they have had something going on, while they're doing their show? How do they do it? How are they always smiling? And cut to, I was in that very same position myself. And everyone, each one of us deals with personal challenges in life, and there are things that kind of bring you down, depress you, but it's on you how you want to move on from those, especially in a career like ours, being in media. We've especially when I am not just doing a show on television, which is recorded, I'm also doing live shows. I'm an MC on stage where I have to make sure my audience is having a good time. And they are entirely relying on me to give them a good time.
Absolutely.
So if I am going through a bad day or something in my mind which is pulling me down, I've got to keep that aside. Now, I've had such challenges in life where I lost both my parents, one after another. I lost my mother, and then shortly after that, I lost my father. I also went through a divorce. Those were times when it was quite difficult to focus. But I kind of made sure to put them aside and not let them affect my work, because my work was very dear to me. As I mentioned, it was something that I had brought on in my life much later after doing a corporate job. So this was something which was really my passion. It was something I was absolutely and truly in love with. So I could not let that fail.
So how difficult or easy it was for you to reinvent yourself, and what would be 3 attributes of yours which kept you ticking to be at a place you find yourself now in your professional career?
I think 3 attributes, if you ask me to point out, it would be one was dedication to my work, absolute dedication and focus. That was one. The other one was the never giving up attitude, that no matter what, I am going to excel at this, whatever comes my way. And the last one was, which continues to be, of course, is that I am my own critic. So I take criticism in a very positive way when it comes from someone else as well. But I also find flaws in my own work all the time.
So there's a lot of self-evaluation and critique going on.
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. What was the biggest moment, the biggest media breakthrough in your professional life? Please walk us through that.
Well, the biggest change and the biggest break which actually made me change my career itself was the breakthrough with Zee TV in the Middle East.
Okay.
And the show Zee Connect, which I continue to be a presenter for to date. It was the time when I had just started with some kind of modeling in print and doing some commercials, doing some acting here and there, getting some assignments. And I just happened to see these auditions on a Facebook page, in fact.
Okay.
In a local university here that was going on for Zee Connect, and they were looking out for a TV presenter. And I had no clue about what this is and how to really go about it. But I just felt, I don't know why, I think I can do this. So there was a 3-day auditions going on at this university, and I just walked into those auditions. I had seen Zee Connect. I had seen a couple of episodes of Zee Connect because one of my other shows that I had modeled for was featured on this show.
I see.
So that's how I knew about it, and I had seen the anchor before me, and
you thought you could do better than her, or you could do as well as her?
Well, I actually mugged up those lines that the anchor was saying in one of the episodes, and I went and I vomited those in my audition.
That's how we all start, absolutely.
Yeah, and then a few months down the line is when I heard from Zee TV, gave a couple more auditions, did a look test sort of thing in front of the camera and all of those, and then there I was the anchor for the longest running television show on Zee TV in the Middle East.
Fantastic. Well, it's time for me to slip into a short break, but my conversation will continue with Dubai girl Priya Jethani, popular Indian television anchor, MC, actor and model. We will learn more about her after this break. So keep it locked to Talk 100.3. Thank you for staying with us. You're listening to Views You May Use with me, Anurag Malhotra, and I'm in conversation with Priya Jethani, popular Indian television anchor, MC, actor and model. Priya, after doing modeling for TV and print ads, hosting one of the most popular locally produced shows Zee Connect on Zee TV Middle East, what prompted you to enter the MC scene here in Dubai?
Well, initially when I started with Zee Connect, of course, I was very nervous, and I was really, in my first season of the show itself, thrown into interviewing some really big celebrities, some really big Bollywood stars.
Can be very intimidating, right?
Exactly. And I think it was good in a way because I did it right from the start, and I learned on the job, and I kept getting better at it, and that's how the confidence kept growing in me. To be able to do not just, I mean, even though Z Connect is a recorded show, but when we are out there doing an interview with a celebrity, it's just a one take. It's not going to repeat. So that is as good as live, you know.
So that puts a lot of pressure as well, because the celeb has only that much of time, and if you are doing a few retakes, sometimes it can be a little tricky.
Exactly. So that's what kind of brought about a confidence in me, that what I say in my first take, in my first go, has to be bang on perfect. You know, I can't be doing retakes. Now, shortly after the first season of the show, when I was on this break during Ramadan, is when I started getting some inquiries to host live shows. It started with like a wedding anniversary party of a few hundred people, to a Ramadan night market, and I kind of, with like butterflies in my stomach, I still kept saying yes to those, because I did not want to lose those opportunities. I thought might as well explore this area, this aspect of media also, and see maybe I can do this, you know. And I started taking up these shows, and one after another, it went from wedding anniversaries to proper weddings with all their functions, to corporate events, to sports leagues, to product launch events, to press conferences, and then I just became a full-time MC as well.
So what kind of preparation do you do to execute different kinds of MC assignments? You know, may it be a corporate or a wedding or any other big event, maybe something like the ICC T20 World Cup when you were out in the stadium and egging the crowd on.
Well, Anurag, every event, like you have mentioned, a sports league like the ICC T20 World Cup, compared to a wedding, compared to a corporate event, they are all very different.
Absolutely.
Each one requires a different prep of its kind, you know, of its own kind. Even a corporate event, one corporate event from the other is also very different.
Absolutely.
And each time, you see, my boss is different. I have different clients.
You're dealing with different teams, different people.
Exactly.
Right.
And so then it does get tricky. But what I do, I've sort of like, you know, outlined a sort of process for the way I prepare for an event. Of course, it starts with getting the briefing from the client and understanding how that event is going to go, what is going to be the flow of the event, and what is my role in it, and what is my part in that entire event. And then kind of making suggestions from my side, because now that I've done so many events, there are suggestions and recommendations that I give to the client. You bring
a wealth of experience now, you know, and add value to your clients now.
Exactly. And I'm very glad that most people are willing to take those recommendations and modify their event flows accordingly. And once I've outlined that flow with them, is when I bring about my own prep to it. Now, let's say if it's a wedding, it's got to have games, it's got to have interactions with the people. And most importantly, it's got to have a personal connect with the people.
Knowing the relatives on both the sides.
Absolutely. So what I try to do is always talk to the bride and groom. Even if I don't get to talk to the bride and groom, I get to talk to people from the family, to know them as much as I can. A is to know the story of the bride and groom better. B is to know the families better, so that when I am doing my talking on stage, people feel I am part of the family and I'm not somebody who's who's an outsider who's been professionally hired and is just there. Because that's when they get more entertained and they become more participative and more involved in the functions.
Yes, absolutely. It's all about communication and connectivity, and lots and lots of prep goes, so you actually get into the skin of the character, as they say.
Absolutely.
Priya, UAE lays a great emphasis on gender equality and has recently passed some great laws on the same. And being a woman, what are your views on gender equality?
Well, I think I've always been a supporter of gender equality. Everyone, man and woman, they should be treated equal in every way.
Absolutely.
And I think UAE is doing a great job with coming out with different laws that support this kind of equality, just like we have now in terms of the leaves and all the benefits that both men and women get in every place of work. I think that's amazing.
And also so much participation by the women in the government. I mean, the leadership here lays so much emphasis giving important portfolios to a lot of leading local women to head their organizations. Priya, in a very short period of time, you made a mark for yourself in UAE, and there's no doubt about that. From, shall I say, from creating market research Excel sheets in your corporate career to making your way into the media scene here in the UAE. And now I hear you've turned into an entrepreneur and you've launched your own fragrance. Briefly tell us about that, please.
Well, there's always been one thing in me that I want to keep doing more, and I want to keep doing different things. So and the media platform has really given me that opportunity where I can get to try out different things, different kinds of events that I host, the shows that I'm doing with Z Connect itself. There are so many different kinds of shoots that I have been able to experience, and I thought, I mean, of course, partly it's my Sindhi mind, which kind of, Sindhi mind is equal to business.
We all know that.
Yes, every Sindhi gets into business at some point in time.
So your calling is come.
Yes, I feel so. And there was a little bit of push from family, from my brother, who felt that, now is the time to kind of start my own product with my my own signature product in the market, and fragrance is what we thought of first. So that was it. We started with my own fragrance, which is called Jour de Nuit by Priya Jethani. It means the night of joy.
Wow.
And we are looking at coming out with more variants because the first one has been really liked. We've had a great response to it.
Wonderful. I need to slide into a short break, but my conversation will continue with UAE's own Priya Jethani, popular Indian TV anchor, MC, model, and entrepreneur. So don't go anywhere and keep it locked to Talk 100.3. I'll see you on the other side. Thank you for staying with us. You're listening to Views You May Use with me, Anurag Malhotra, exclusively on Talk 100.3. And I'm in conversation with Dubai girl Priya Jethani, TV anchor, MC, actor, model, and entrepreneur. And I don't know how much more. We'll find out. Priya, you've been interviewed earlier. Have you ever been interviewed earlier?
Yes, I have.
For radio?
Not for radio.
Okay. So probably for print?
Yeah.
Okay. But you have interviewed celebrities across the spectrum, including top Bollywood stars, corporate honchos, sports celebs. If you must pick one best interview you have conducted, which one will that be and why?
Well, when you say best interview, there's only one name that comes in my mind, and that is our very own Bollywood Badshah, Shah Rukh Khan.
Wow. The king of romance.
The king of romance. But I will tell you what, and I've told so many people this, it's really only on the basis of my experience, solely my interview with him, that made me fall for him and I became his true fan after that. I mean, his movies and everything, what he does on screen is okay.
That is scripted.
That is scripted, and that is something, okay, we all love, but I've never been like a die-hard fan of SRK.
Right.
But when I met that guy, I mean, the warmth that guy brings, that aura, the charm that he has.
And
is
the
just,
wit.
And the wit is something else. So, of course, despite him, at the level of stardom that he is, it's not easy to remember so many names. He'd remembered mine, which is one thing. And throughout the interview, because he said it at least 4 times in the entire interview, he repeated my name, and I was like very impressed.
Absolutely.
That was one. And he was, of course, in my interview for maybe about 10 or 12 minutes, between which he had to get up twice because he was being called for something, and another time for a very urgent call which he could not avoid. That guy has apologized for it 4 times to me, saying, I'm really sorry, I know this is important and we can't keep doing this, but I'm really sorry. And I was super impressed. No star does that.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, humility, especially with that kind of success, it's a very rare combination.
Yeah.
And then it endears such stars and celebs to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it was the most memorable interview, the most memorable conversation I've had so far.
Wonderful. Priya, how difficult or easy is it for you to switch from your person mode that's the real Priya Jethani, to the real mode, your persona mode, from off camera to on camera or on mic?
Well, I think if you ask some of my school friends, like I met one the other day at a wedding, and he said to me, "You were completely different in school, Priya. This was not you. You were a shy, timid person, so reserved, sitting in one corner, not talking to anyone. That was actually me, I'm not kidding. I was a very shy person. I was not the outgoing person that I am today." A lot has changed in me, but it's also to do with the field that I'm in. So now whatever I am on camera is what I am in person as well. You will find me outgoing and bubbly the way I am, and this is how I like to be.
I can vouch for that. I know you personally. I have met you so many times otherwise. And yes, to me, you've always come across to be the same person as you are today in front of the mic.
Yes, exactly. And you know what, Anurag, it's very important. The energy that you have personally is going to be the energy you will pass on to people. And that's very important for a person like me who's on stage, who actually hundreds of people are relying on in a show, whether it's a wedding or any sort of event, or on TV, even if I'm interviewing a certain person. The kind of energy you carry is what the other person will feel. So
now I think it's time for you to share this energy which you carry in your real life, which has got aligned now, as we have just learned. Share some tips for our listeners on how to overcome stage fright, mic fright, talking in front of strangers. How can they do it too?
Well, I think it just comes over time and with practice, Anurag. It's practice always, and keep doing it. Keep it going. Like, you cannot stop after one. I mean, there may be incidents, there may be times which may kind of make you more nervous, which may you may feel that you failed and you can't do this. This is not your thing, but don't let that deter you. You need to keep going. You need to keep at it. That's the only way to grow. That's the only way to leave your fears behind.
So any simple tips? Of course, generically what you said is right. Practice, and practice,
yes.
Right? But any simple ways of people who are aspiring, to take on the field of media, maybe on air, or, in front of the mic or in front of people, any couple of things which you could share, which you do yourself, even despite doing so much of work, now you still do it? Or now it's a switch button? You just switch it on and it's on.
Well, no, not really, because as I said, every event, everything, every shoot, in fact, needs prep. And the more prepared you are, the more, you have to make a script in either your mind or on paper or on your phone, wherever you
I
think
do it on paper.
Exactly. So I do it sometimes in my head. I do it sometimes on my phone, because typing is easier than writing it. So wherever you're doing it, you just got to make sure that you've had your pointers ready in front of you. And once you have that, the confidence will come about on its own. When you know what you're going to be talking. Of course, there will be deviations. There will be things you will bring on the spot, but you'll have your prep done. So I think that's most important for anyone.
Well, that's really wonderful. I'm sure our listeners are going to benefit from these very, very good insights you've given to them. I need to slip into a break here, but my conversation will continue with Priya Jethani. So don't go anywhere and keep it locked to Talk 100.3. Thank you for staying with us. You're listening to Views You May Use with me, Anurag Malhotra, exclusively on Talk 100.3. And I'm in conversation with Priya Jethani, the TV anchor, MC, actor, model, and entrepreneur in the UAE. Priya, UAE is so vibrant and bustling with action, with media opportunities galore, and you are one of those who has thrived in this. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Have you ever thought about going to Tinsel World, Bollywood, because normally that is the progression. What's your wish list? Movies, production, direction, or maybe radio?
Maybe
Please
all
tell
of,
us about that.
Maybe all of it, all of what you've mentioned, I would not mind trying out. If the opportunity comes my way, why not? As I said, I love trying out different things. If it has to be radio, then yeah, why not? I wouldn't mind doing a show just like you, sitting on in your seat. That is one. Tinseltown. Well, I have actually, in fact, even traveled to Bombay a couple of times to do some commercials.
Okay.
Movies has not happened yet, and I don't know if it does. Then yeah, again, I wouldn't mind exploring. It's always just been a challenge for me to think about moving my base from my home, which is Dubai, to another country, especially India. But yeah, if
So is that the main deterrent, for you to take a full-time plunge into movies or, events, etc., overseas, and especially going and settling down in Mumbai to be right in the middle of where the industry is thriving?
Well, yeah, that has been kind of something which I've not really wanted to do, move my base. But at the same time, the UAE has given me so many opportunities here. Now, if you see, so many movies, Bollywood movies are being shot in the UAE.
Absolutely.
That is something, again, start of an opportunity which is coming by. So many events. The ICC T20 World Cup came to Dubai.
Absolutely amazing.
And because everything is coming down here, there really feels no need to step out of this place to find an opportunity.
And do you also think about sometimes to, again, hone your skills more? Obviously, experience teaches you the maximum and you've done so much. So maybe, an acting course here or there to just take your own game to another level. Have you ever thought about it?
Yeah, well, I have thought about it. In fact, sometimes the thought comes to me that, since I'm an MC and I do a lot of on-the-spot talking on stage, maybe I should now look at becoming a life coach or, someone who can really... Because I get very inspired by people, motivational speakers on stage. The way they talk and the way they inspire you with their words is something that I kind of want to do, but there will be a proper professional learning that will be needed for that, and I am looking at that now.
Wonderful. So you are a lady for all seasons. You like to try new things, as you've shown so far in your journey. So there is a wish list, a bucket list. So when the right time comes, probably you're going to latch on to that.
Yeah, maybe.
Wonderful. Some tips for aspiring young people who wish to pursue careers in acting, modeling, presenting, emceeing events, radio, TV, etc. How should they go about it? There are a lot of students, a lot of young children, like
Yes.
once when you came out of university,
Yes.
while you were dabbling in those Excel sheets,
Yes.
you came out and something inside you made you gravitate towards a career in media,
Yeah.
right? And you've had such a versatile career so far. So something for aspiring young people who want to create a career and not just do it for passion. It may start with passion, but do it as a career in the media industry.
Yes. I think, in fact, nowadays a lot of people are looking at it right from the start as a career, which is great. The generation that I see now who are just out of school or just out of college, they are looking at media careers. They're not looking at this is something on the side.
So many more opportunities now.
Exactly. And at my time, I think social media was not that huge. It was just starting out. And as I said, like I came across Z Connect auditions on a Facebook page.
Right.
These days people are all over social media, YouTube, and so many other social platforms are helping people out to put out their skills and their talents, and they get picked out from there, which is great, which is working out for young students and aspirants. And not just young students and aspirants, Anurag, I would say this for anyone who's been thinking about it for years and has still not done it, is at an age maybe they feel they have children, but they've always had the desire to pursue something in modeling or media. Go for it, because I think dreams don't have an expiry date. If you really have had that desire and you can work towards it even now, go for it. Why stop yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. But do you also think formalized courses you didn't take one.
Yeah.
You switched. But for other young aspirants, who want to
Yes.
take and make a career in media, because there are so many opportunities available today,
Yes.
right? Both at the job front as well as from the educational point of view. And I think also one thing very interesting which has happened is the mindset of the parents has changed
Yes.
towards allowing their children, especially women, to go into the field of media.
Yes.
There used to be always this little hesitation earlier. So all those things. So would you think it would be good for the aspirants to actually pick up a media course which is close to what they want to do?
Yes, absolutely. I think it always helps to take professional training in anything that you aspire to become. If you've thought about it and if that's the way to go for you from a very early age, then you must start training, whether it's to do something as a singer. Maybe you're God gifted and you have a beautiful voice, but professional training is just going to take you a notch higher. Same goes for speaking on stage.
Right.
There are public speaking courses that you can do. Same goes with acting. There are courses in acting. There's theater that you can do. I think once you've done theater, then acting in movies becomes a piece of
Have you
cake.
ever done theatre?
Well, I haven't, but again, that is something which
On your wish list?
It is on my wish list, yes. I look at theatre actors and, even people who are in Bollywood today, I look at them and knowing that they, like, for example, Paresh Rawal, who's
Correct.
always
The
been
method
a theatre.
actors.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
from
look at them,
NSD.
knowing them
Yeah.
that they've been theatre actors, and I've even seen him perform on live, like, on a stage. And oh my God, like, those guys are
Another level.
Another level of talent.
Wonderful. In the end, who is Priya Jethani? The person, and the person behind the external media persona. If you were to sum yourself up for our listeners.
Honestly,
Got you thinking. Got you thinking.
I mean, I am pretty much an open book, I would say. Anyone who knows me knows everything about me, and I'm very, very straightforward and very honest when I talk. I just and very transparent. There's nothing really that's hidden about me. And that reflects in my work as well when I'm talking to either a celebrity or on stage or in person when there are no cameras on me or when
Right.
not hundreds of people are listening to me on a mic. I'm still the same. So I don't know.
In fact, I can vouch for that, and I'm sure our listeners can vouch for that too, because today you did share, some parts of your personal life which people normally on mass media refrain from
Yeah.
speaking about, which only shows that you are what you get, and you're right there. Absolutely fantastic. Priya, thank you so much for coming on my show and sharing your inspiring life journey with us. Kudos to you, and hope you go on to achieve much greater heights in the world of media and other things which you plan to do. So more power to you. Hope you enjoyed this interview. Please do send me your feedback on a WhatsApp number 0586861003. You can also leave a voice note on the same number, as well as call us on a toll-free line 808-1003. You can also communicate with us on our Insta handle, Talk100.3 UAE. If you wish to send me a more detailed communication, please feel free to email me directly. My email ID is nycu2020@gmail.com, and I'll make it a point to respond to you. And don't forget to follow me on my Insta handle, nycu2020 as well. It's time for me to end today's show, but you can catch me from Sunday to Wednesday for your daily dose of news you can use from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and on next Thursday with a brand new episode of Views You May Use, also from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., where you'll get an opportunity to meet another top personality on a topic of relevance and interest to you, exclusively on Talk 100.3, the new home for news, sport, business and conversation in the UAE. This is Anurag Malhotra signing off. Have a safe and a great weekend. Bye-bye.